All right, everyone, welcome to the Section C4 Youth Officer Forum. I'm Ben Snyder. I am the 2019-2020 Section Chief. I've had the pleasure of serving a little over a term in this position, and I'm really excited to see all you guys here taking a part in this opportunity and really in the conclave weekend in general. I really hope you've had a great time up to this point and are excited to come down this home stretch with us as we finish up our program later this afternoon and this evening. So a little bit about myself. Outside of scouting, I am a second-year student at The Ohio State University, where I'm a logistics and supply chain management major with a minor in Spanish. Before I was elected section chief last year, I served as the section vice chief of C4, and I was also the vice chief of section C4A prior to the merger. I've served in numerous roles on the lodge and chapter level, as well as a participant in OA High Adventure summer of 2019. When I went down to Philmont and was a member of the Order of the Arrow Trail crew. That's a little bit about me. I'll pass it over to our other two officers to let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Gold, and I am the 2019 through 2020 Section Vice Chief of Section C4. A little bit about me is I'm a student at Wittenberg University, and I am doing a double major in marketing and communications. And I can say one of my biggest passions in scouting is really communications. That's one of the main things, and among that is helping others. One second. My apologies. Sorry. So that's one of my biggest passions, communications and giving back to our organization. Fun fact about me. Yes. So my apologies. So among all the things I do, I've served my section for 4 years. This year being my first elected position, and serving on numerous coordinator and CVZ positions beforehand. 2 of those being the communications coordinator for my section. And then before that, I was the conclave vice chief of training. Additionally, in scouting, I serve on the on national as a brand and identity team, and I mainly focus on the brand and implementing it. And then on the region, I am the deputy communications coordinator for the central region. So that's really a little bit about me. So I hope you guys you learn a little bit about me, and I'm excited to answer some of your questions.
All right, so my name is Ethan Bentling, and I'm currently serving as the section secretary. I'm an Eagle Scout and Visual Honor member from Marnock Lodge 151. And I've served on the COC for just about a year now, and I helped out Jonathan in the previous years with some communication stuff. I currently attend Youngstown State University as a business administration major, and I also serve as the Central Region Digital Content Team Lead.
All right, thank you, everyone. So before we kick off into a couple of announcements from the section, are there any questions you guys have for any of us regarding the weekend or the past year in general, or projections on what the future may look like for the section or the OA? Feel free to unmute yourself and talk, or type any questions you have in the chat. Both work. What has been the toughest thing about last year? I think all 3 of us can speak to this one a little bit. So we'll go round robin for this. So for me, the most difficult aspect of this past year was really just organization and planning essentially 3 different conclaves. For those of you that have been following along with C4 this past year, you know that when we started off this year, we were full steam ahead for Conclave 2020 at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. It was going to be the first section conclave ever held at the Summit, and it was going to be one heck of a party. But unfortunately, due to circumstances, we had to postpone that to a later date this exact same weekend, with the initial plan to hold it at Seven Ranges Scout Reservation in Kensington, Ohio. The intent was for that to be an in-person event, and a couple months of planning that, we transitioned to the online and spent our time devoted to that. So the hardest part for me was making those tough decisions to transfer from the summit to Seven Ranges to eventually online, and then working with everyone to make sure all that's being communicated clearly and we're all working towards this new goal that we're now putting forth. But luckily I can say it's been one of the best years of my life working with this team, and everyone's really stepped up to the challenge and produced some incredible work over these past couple months. So I'm really proud of that.
On my end, I think this year a lot of us had our own little projects that we worked to accomplish. And in addition to that, we as a team also worked to accomplish a lot of things. And one of those I feel like that we brought upon was the Lodge Partnership Program. And the point of this was to really cater to the lodges and to continue to build them, in addition to the new Thrive initiative that the Order of the Arrow has brought upon us. We worked hard this year, and I feel like we made a lot of really good steps. We built a lot of foundation. But what bothered me is we built this foundation to build the lodges and to build them to make them better, basically. So at least in my mind, my goal was to build the lodges and make them better than what they were before. Because I see you can have a perfect lodge, but there's something that just isn't right sometimes. And my goal was to find out what that thing wasn't right and make it better. And if it was through me helping them, or if it was through me trying to get another lodge and partnering them together. I would say that one of my biggest struggles was us building up, trying to get these lodges basically in a really good spot. And we were going in a really big upwards path. And then the pandemic hit, and we lost a really good amounts of momentum. And I'm not talking about the momentum at the summit. I'm talking about just us having that really progressive path forward. So I'd say one of the big things was us trying to really try to build our lodges and then stay in contact with them, because I feel a lot of people lost their passion. And so the biggest struggle I think with me was trying to continue to keep in contact with the lodges, to make sure their passion was still going, and to ultimately make sure they got through the struggle, the long and toilsome journey as is the COVID-19 pandemic. So I would say that's about it. And then, no, that's actually all I have.
So I would say probably the hardest thing for myself, I'll kind of reiterate what Ben said, was having to plan 3 different conclaves at 3 different times. So we finished our first conclave for the summit. We were ready to go, and then we had to cancel that. And then we had to move it to Seven Ranges, and then we had that pretty well planned out. We had all of our logistics taken care of, and then we had to cancel that and move it to the form that we have now. So going from an all outdoor program like at the summit, where you have your zip lining, you have all of your water sports, you have everything like that, and then you go to Seven Ranges, and then you go to online, you take out all of the outdoor aspect of it. So we had to completely redo a large majority of all of our program. So I'd say that would be one of the harder things. And then second to that would be, we had a lot of COCs, a lot of them, to plan all of this out. So as the secretary, I get to take all of the minutes for all of those COCs. So we have quite a few minutes that I've taken, but it's all good.
And we appreciate you taking all those minutes at all of our different COCs to help keep us all on track and moving in the same direction. Wow, thanks, Robbie. So when will patches come? So patches will be mailed directly following the conclusion of the event. They should be sent out within the next week, and then you should be in your possession week or so after that. So I'd give it a couple of weeks, but have no fear. Your event patch and any additional patches you ordered, as well as the thank you patch, you can now buy. All of those will be shipped to you and should be in your possession in a couple weeks or so. Anything else we can answer for you guys?
Mainly one thing that you guys probably can't help me with this since it's a crack the code.
What's your question?
I just said you might not be able to answer it since, you guys probably all know the answers.
I don't have the answers in front of me, but I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you're able to work on that. If you have any questions about logistics of how that's going to work or different aspects regarding the game, we're more than willing to help you out with those. So let's see. Do we have an online trading post where you guys can buy some merch? So unfortunately, other than the patches you can buy, the additional event patches, COC patches, staff patches, and now the thank you patch, there isn't a place to buy you some C4 drip. So that will be a project for the coming year to establish some swag for you that you guys can buy. But as of right now, we unfortunately don't have much to present.
Additionally with that, so we have been looking to make t-shirts. I can tell you that one of the visions from Brian, and then especially this past year, and unfortunately we did have a design and we were going to be getting things pushed out. We were going to be making t-shirts, and we did have an approval for a design of a belt buckle, but no approval when it came to going the next step into making them. But I can say currently you can buy more patches, as Ben said, for Conclave. But then in addition, for our Conclave, we just recently announced on our section Facebook page that we have a support patch, basically a patch where you can support our section. Since we're about $2,000 into the hole with this event, and since we're basically making this event free for everyone, we have the chance for you to buy a special patch. And I sent that link in there, and you guys in our chat, and so you guys are more than welcome to purchase that if you're also interested. And also that patch will help cover expenses that the section usually pays for, with our Conclave budget, such as sending the section chief to NPM and other events like that. So.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. So once things go more or less back to normal, is there going to be some kind of online version of Conclave to go along with an in-person event once, we're able to get back out and doing that? And, after this past weekend and how it's been running, it's definitely on the table. It's definitely a discussion piece, and especially for those conclaves way up north in Cleveland area and Erie Lenon, and then those southern conclaves with Taconic Lodge and southern West Virginia. I think having a virtual aspect for those kind of events would definitely benefit those in the opposite poles of our section. So in case you may not want to take that 6-hour drive to Conclave, you can still participate and get the full Conclave experience, just maybe a little more remote. More details about what that could look like and incorporations of that will be coming out soon in the next year or so. But as of right now, it's most definitely on the plate, and it is a discussion piece that is on our minds moving forward.
Really quick, Cameron, I know you just said you had a concern about patches from your last conclave. If you contact our section advisor, Brian Seaton, he could probably help you out in locating those. If not that, contact your lodge advisor. I know he has the direct contact information for Brian. So.
So there's a question, what is AIA? That is American Indian Activities. So that can include things like the dance competitions. We've had those at previous conclaves, and we have them at NOAC when NOAC does happen. We have very large dance competitions, and it also includes making of regalia or making of the dance regalia. So anything having to do with American Indian, either activities or like leatherwork or whatever it might be, that's what AIA is, and including the headdresses that we use. And I'll also answer the question from Nolan, what are our favorite scout reservations? If we can include reserves, I'd say Summit Bechtel is a really good one. And then I also like Manitowoc Scout Reservation. And then I'll let Ben and Jonathan answer that as well.
I think for me, going off what Ethan said, my favorite reserve would probably be the Summit Bechtel Reserve, where we're going to have conclave. The favorite scout property that I've been on has to be the Philmont Scout Ranch down in New Mexico. But if we're just talking scout reservation, I got to go with my home scout reservation, Firelands. Just can't beat the OG. And as for the AIA program, as specific to this weekend, coming up at 4:30, there will be a video production of an actual drum and dance team performing. I believe it's like a 20-minute exposition. You get to see a little bit what they do, what they're wearing, how they go about doing it, and with little descriptions, details along the way that will be provided throughout the video. So I highly recommend you take advantage of that once you're done talking to us here. And yeah, I'll pass it on to Jonathan.
My turn. So I'm going to finish up this question and start the next one that's been thrown out. So my favorite scout reservation, I feel like we've all been born and raised in one scout reservation. We grew up there all our lives, and they probably give you the most fondest memories within your scouting career. And in that case, it'll probably have to be Fort Steuben Scout Reservation for when it comes to me choosing my favorite camp. But I got to say, when I started to travel out with the OA, I started to see Beaumont with Erie Lenon Lodge and Lake Erie Council, and I fell in love with that camp. But then also, the summit's beautiful, and also Philmont Scout Ridge is very beautiful. So it's really hard to choose just one because, every scout camp has their own features about them. But I think definitely it's going to have to be Fort Steuben, just because one thing we say is, we're Fort Steuben born and Fort Steuben bred, and when I die, I'll be Fort Steuben dead. So that's our little catchphrase there. So I'm going to have to go with Fort Steuben. And then to answer the next question, when did y'all earn your Eagle Scout? I earned my Eagle Scout on March 8th, 2016.
All right, I figured it out. I'll answer Robbie's question too about when I earned my Eagle Scout. A little while ago, but August 20th, 2015, right after the Centennial NOAC. That was a personal goal I had and came up just short of it, but overall, it's fine. It's fine.
So I just found this out, but Ben got his Eagle Scout 7 days before I did. I finished and got my Eagle Scout board review done on August 27th of 2015. So yeah.
I just want to point out, I love how we all remember the exact date on when we got our Eagle Scout. That is awesome. Does anyone else in the chat know the exact date of when they got their Eagle Scout?
And again, for those of you still striving to be Eagle Scouts, still working through those requirements, I highly encourage you keep going. As the road gets tougher, steeper, just make sure that that's your top priority. The Eagle Scout is nothing to brush off to the side and just, oh, I got time later. Like, get it done as soon as you can. Work through those requirements at a consistent basis, and just always find time and make sure you can get that. And then, once you put in all that work and finally sit down to have your board of review, finally get that final signature in your book that says, yes, you blank are an Eagle Scout, that memory, that day just sticks with you. So I think for those of you that haven't or are still on the trail to Eagle, I think as you'll find, those dates are very meaningful in your life, and I think you won't have any trouble remembering the exact date that you earned your Eagle. Let's see.
Well, I do want to say one last thing with the Eagle Scout stuff. Shout out to Jacob and John for recently getting their Eagle Scouts. That's awesome, guys. It's really awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's one of the few good things of 2020 that's happened.
I'm sorry, Jacob. Would you be able to repeat what you were saying there?
Thanks. It's one of the few good things of 2020.
I totally understand that. More than understandable with all that's been going on. Kudos to everyone that has gotten their Eagle Scout in the year 2020 or through this quarantine time period. Being stuck at home, not being able to do much, I'm really glad that you guys were able to, use that boredom time to good use and put it forth towards the program. So congratulations. I see we got a question in here about what's been the most rewarding part of serving your section this past year. And honestly, after these 497 days, it's been 497 days since Conclave 2019. I did the math, have no fear. The best part of those 497 days is today, like right now. The culmination of all that work coming together and us being able to present it to you. Now, it's not the kind of presentation that we had expected starting off this year back in May of 2019, but nonetheless, we persisted, we got through. We're still standing or sitting on this bench today, but we're still fighting, and I'm really glad that you guys are here to take part in our program. That this is what it's all about, and I can't thank you all enough.
If the question is also going to me, I would say the most rewarding part is just, I feel like each year I somehow am able to do more and more with scouting. And I would say this year, as was last year and the previous year, is I've been able to do a lot for scouting and being able to give back. With this being my first actual elected position on Section C4, I felt like I've taken it by the horns. And I feel like the most rewarding thing on my part is I'm able to see like the successes that not only I, but also the rest of our section officers have been able to, accomplish. We've done a lot from what we, with the cards, the deck that we've been dealt. So I would say the most rewarding thing is just seeing our efforts that have paid off. If it is a little project here and there, or if it is, Conclave round 3. So
Yeah, so I would say one of the most rewarding things about serving the section over the past year was, and I'm sure that the other two would agree with this, but when you get your Eagle Scout, when you do the, I think it's called the Eagle Charger, something close to that, the person who charges you as an Eagle Scout talks to you about how when you receive your Eagle Scout, that's the culmination of what scouting is given to you. And from that point on, it's about what you give to scouting. And so one thing that I really enjoy about working with the section and everything else I get to do now is I get to help give back to scouting and to the Order of the Arrow because of everything that I've gotten out of it. So I'd say that's probably the best thing for me. And the other part of it would be I get to meet a lot of great people like Ben and Jonathan. I really enjoyed working with them over the past 497 days. It's been a great time. And I also got to meet some other great people. So I'd say those are the best parts for myself.
All right, fantastic. Are there any other questions we can answer or concerns you guys have about the upcoming year, upcoming program, really anything? Any ideas for Challenge 3? Ooh.
Isn't Challenge 3 the goofiest uniform? I just got the text message.
I'm thinking about bringing out my Cub Scout uniform and taking a video with that, but I'm not really sure yet.
Personally, Robbie, I would love to see that. As for other ideas, I don't know. Jonathan, Ethan, you guys got any good ideas for that?
I mean, I can make a quick section officer joke. One of the goofiest things ever is wearing your polywool uniforms and them not being ironed. So that would be very goofy in one part. But let me think of something better. Give me a few seconds here.
So one thing that you guys could do is if you have a large amount of OA sashes or just a couple of them, you can put those on with your merit badge sash. And if you have pins, just put those all over your uniform, everywhere.
Oh,
Anywhere that you can put a pin on your uniform, that's what you need to do.
You got to make sure to wrap an ordeal sash around your forehead.
Absolutely. If you want, you could even wear it like a scarf. So just some ideas there.
If you got a ton of those hanging patches that hang from your buttons, I think you have more than a few buttons that go down the center of your shirt. So there's a little bit of motivation.
Robbie, I love the way that you think, and you should definitely do that.
If I had more patches and sashes at college, I definitely would, but I only have one sash, and I don't even think I have any like hanging patches. Oh, maybe I do. I don't know. I'll take a look.
College is overrated. Don't fall into the trap. But like even you got buttons up here on your epaulets. You got buttons all the way down your uniform. I totally agree with what Ethan's saying. That sounds like a phenomenal idea. So yeah, anything else while we're sitting here?
And please know you can either unmute yourselves or type in the chat. We are monitoring both of them.
Oh, cool. You guys can hear my serenading voice. Big question is, how do I continue scouting, like, even though I'm in college or I'm going to go into college soon? Like, what are some ways to get involved?
All right. So a couple of ways that you can stay involved in scouting, Robbie, is one of them is you can work with your local section, maybe not as a CVC or coordinator, but you can work underneath a CVC or coordinator and do any kind of special tasks that they might have. So if they need a graphic design real quick and they don't have time to do it themselves, maybe you could help them out with that. There's hundreds of things that can be done on the section level, whether it's like graphic design or writing a news article or pretty much anything you can think of, everyone can help in one way or another. Another way that you can get involved is through the region. So you don't actually go to really any in-person meetings if you work with the region. All of them are online like we're doing now, because it's really hard to get people from that big of a geographical area together. So if you work with the region, that's a great way of doing it. If you work with the section, maybe not in a large like responsibility role, but just helping them out with anything, that also works. Another thing you can do is, depending on where you're at and what college you're going to, you can go into the college reserves for scouts. So it's just people who are in college and are also scouts just getting together, and it's almost like a student organization. So that's one way.
I would like to point out that this does not have to be only within college. I know there's some, if anyone was like me, I was a very busy high schooler. So especially in my junior and senior year, well, okay, I didn't do this, but sometimes I wish I would have just served on just a committee position, because because I was doing like soccer, 2 sports, and several clubs in my high school, in addition to doing scouting, and I didn't have any time. But some people also don't have time because of like fall-time sports, like if you're in the band or something, there's no time. We know that. So I would say like you can take these recommendations and even apply them to your personal life. Maybe you don't want to put so much work into scouting, but you really want to get involved and be in a specific area. That's when you can take Ethan's suggestions, and you can do that even in a high school area. Like there's always going to be opportunities looking for scouting, and if you find the right person to ask, or someone who knows someone, you can get those opportunities to serve on a committee or help a person do something else. So do you need to sign up for the bingo challenge? That is a no.
Yeah, so the bingo challenge is entirely free and open to anyone registered for conclave.mp4. I'm sure you've probably already found the bingo card on our website, live.conclave.oa-c4.org. It's right up on the tabs with the schedules. Just head over to either home or conclave 2020, something like that, and bingo card will pop up. Just click it to download it. Keep track by checking off what you've been doing over the weekend, and be sure to submit that before the end of the weekend so we can gather all those up and make sure you do get your prize patches when we send those out following the event. Anything else on the bingo card in general? I know it's been something new we're trying, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. Nice. All right, fantastic. So if you guys think of any questions, again, please feel free to drop them in the chat, mute yourselves and interrupt me. It's not that big of a deal, but I'd like to give you guys a couple of updates on what we're going to be doing as a section over these next couple of months, and some other events and opportunities for you to take advantage of coming up in this sooner rather than later time period. Just nice items to put on your calendar and make sure you're keeping up with them as they come up. So first off, we have already a couple of NLS courses decided for the 2021 year. So the London, Ohio course that was planned for this year, originally in March, I believe, and then postponed to October. That one will be held in the same location, but now pushed back to either the first or third weekend in May. That's NLS is the National Leadership Seminar. It's easily the best training program I've ever attended as a youth. And the best part, they completely redid the NLS program only a couple of years ago. So by you going through it now, you're getting the brand new content, and you're still going to be one of the first to receive it. So be sure to have NLS on your calendar those couple of weekends in May, and make it a point to attend those. Following NLS, or I guess kind of sandwiched in between those two NLS weekends, we have our tentative Conclave 2021 date. So again, it's only tentative right now, subject to change if this year's proven anything. So Conclave 2021 is tentatively scheduled for May 14th through the 17th at Seven Ranges Scout Reservation. You may remember Seven Ranges as it's where we had our second, or we planned our second of third conclaves, but they're next up in the rotation, and if all goes according to plan, or if all goes according to the current plan, they will be our host for Conclave 2021. And finally, I would like to invite you all to the first ever Section C4 ACT conference. ACT stands for Adapt, Collaborate, and Thrive, and it is a national training handed down to the sections for us to provide to you guys as lodge members and members in the Order of the Arrow. The Section C4 ACT conference will be held during our winter COC meeting. So no date has been officially nailed down just yet, but expect around the November, December, early January time period. That's when the event will be held. And please expect an announcement on that probably in the next month or so on where that's going to be, what that's going to look like for you as a participant, and how you can get involved and stay active through the ACT conference. Yeah, any questions on any of those updates pertaining to section events? I don't know about you, but I am really excited for this upcoming year. We got so much fun program planned for you guys. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. All right, perfect. So we only got about 5 or 10 more minutes here. If you guys have any other last minute questions about scouting, life in general.
Oh, I do have one. I know there was a forum conference that was scheduled at Camp Lazarus. Was that canceled?
For the 2020 year, yes. So
That's what I thought.
yeah. Unfortunately, due to pushing Conclave back and other complications with making sure that event was going to run smoothly and potentially house that ACT conference I was talking about, we have made the decision to cancel the forum conference for this year, and we're still hoping to have it on next year though. So that first weekend in November, keep that circled on your calendar for 2021. But
Hey everyone, in addition, just some food for the thought for the airmen that are in Section C4. We are always looking for additional people to serve on our section. And so if you ever want to just kind of get your toes wet, or you want to jump in and try to serve on a different capacity at a different level so you can benefit many lodges at once, and just give back to the order at a higher level, the Section C4 is a very good opportunity for you to not only build your leadership skills, but also help others. If you would like to learn more about that or contact someone, you can visit our website at oa-c4.org, and you can get the contact information from there. If not, I can drop my email into the chat, and you guys can also look into contacting me, and I can connect you with the right person. So yeah, thank you.
So I'll add on to that just a little bit. And if you do want to get involved with the section, it's a really fun time. You get to do a lot of great work, and you get to meet a lot of new people. And the people that you meet on the section level are always the best. So if you are interested at all, please contact us. Email Jonathan, email Ben, email myself. We'll all be happy to talk to you. In addition to that, if you haven't gone to a OA High Adventure yet, it's always open during the summer. So that involves both Philmont, Northern Tier, the Summit, as well as the Sea Base. So if you're interested in going to any of those 4 high adventure bases for like a very low cost, then you can go with the Order of the Arrow, and you'll work for part of the time, and then you'll get to do basically whatever type of adventure you'd like to do for the second half. So I highly recommend it. I know that Ben went to OA Trail Crew this last year, and I'm sure he'd love to tell you about it at some time, but I highly recommend it, and you'll have a great time.
I have stories about OA Trail Crew that would take a lot longer than the 2-ish minutes we still have together. But of course, OA High Adventure, hopefully you guys were able to stop in with some of the midway speakers as they gave a little insight on OA Wilderness Voyage Summit experience. I think they talked on all of them, to be honest. So I hope you were able to listen in on those sessions and learn a little bit about the programs. It's a cheap way to go to a high adventure base, give back to the Order in some of the most beautiful places in the country, and meet complete strangers on the first day and leave with 15 new best friends on the last day. Truly a one-of-a-kind, unique experience, open to all Arrowmen ages 13 to 21, depending on the program. But of course, reach out to your lodge, reach out to your lodge chief for more information about OA High Adventure and how you can get involved this summer. All right. Any last questions before we give you guys a little bit of free time before the 4:30 AIA video exposition session? All right. Well, hey, everyone, thank you for joining us on this little forum chat this afternoon. We hoped you guys learned something, or at least had a little bit of fun chatting with us. We had a really good time answering all your questions and presenting to you a little bit of our idea for what the new year might hold. So if you have any questions about the section or in general, I know Jonathan dropped his email in the chat. Feel free to reach out to the section or any one of us. We'll be more than happy to help you with just about anything you're working on. And we hope to see you in person at a section event sometime in the near future. But for now, take a break, grab a new drink, and we'll meet you back here for the AIA exposition at 4:30.